All right, welcome to this class. We want to look at exponential equation. Some author call it initial equation. All right, which can liken it to the properties of indices. Just as we have the rules in indices, we have the properties of indices. So now, let us now look at what it means. Now, exponential equation, when the variable is at the index, such an equation is known as exponential equation. What I mean is that once the variable is in the index form, in the at the exponential point, then it is regarded as a exponential equation. Sometimes the variable can be the base, or the variable can also be at the index level or at the power level. Now we have, okay, what I'm trying to say is that first of all, if we have this and we have this is the base, this is the power, right? So now, once it is the unknown that is found at the index form or the power form, then we now have equal to probably anything here, then it is an exponential equation. Okay, for instance, if I have 2 raised by x is equals to 8. Now, the variable now is the index. So this is an example of exponential equation. The equation must have equal to. All right. So this is an example of exponential equation. Now we have 3 basic rules in solving exponential equation. Now the first rule says that if the variable of both sides of the equation, if the base is equal on both sides of the equation, then you equate the variables. That is, if the bases are equal, you equate the variables. Now, example, like for example, look at this one. I'm saying if I have a raised to power n and it's equals to a raised to power n, that's the first law. It says if the bases are equal, equate the variable as your answer. So your answer here will be n equal to n. So in that case, if I have something like this I want to solve now, we are looking for the s, which is the variable, and it's at the exponential point. Now, all I need to do is to make sure I express them to have the same base. Now, how many times the smallest base I have here now is 2. There's nothing that we times itself to give you 2. 2 is the smallest base, right? So now, how many times will these 2 times itself to give you 8? Yes, if you identify it, which is 3, which means this will be 2 raised by x and it's equals to 2 raised by 3. Now, according to the first law, as long as the 2 bases are not equal, you now equate s is equals to 3. Equate the power. That will be your answer. So your s will be equal to 3. That is the first law of exponential equation. Now, the second law now says that if the power or the exponential, if the power of both sides of the equations are equal, then equate the base. For instance, if I have a raised to power n and it's equals to b raised to power n, now it says that as long as the power of both sides are equal, then I will equate this equal to this as my answer. So our answer will be equal to a, will be equal to b. For instance, let's say I have x raised to power 3, and this is now equal to 8. Equals to 8. Now we're asked to find x. We have to find x. Now all I need to do is that I have the power of 3 here. And the variable now is the base here now. So I have to make this one to have both equal base. Okay, I mean equal power. So what is the number that we times itself 3 times will give you 8? That number is 2. So this will be x raised by 3 is equals to 2 raised to power 3. And in this case now, you can see down that the power, they are not equal. So our x will not be equal to 2 as our answer. That is the second law of exponential. Now, the third law, which is called the reciprocal power law. The reciprocal power law. Now, for instance, if the variable is, okay, let's say for instance, I have a raised to power 1 over n and it's equals to let's say 2. Let's say 2. Okay, now what we just need to do is that, okay, let me just put B first because I'm using alphabet here. Let me use B there first now. Now, what this toddler is saying is that you will multiply once you have uh, the, 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 the base, I mean, the variable of this side and the other sides, they are not the same, or whether they are the same or not, and you are looking for the variable. Now, multiply both sides. When you have the power as reciprocal, multiply both sides by the reciprocal of the power to the variable. Now, for instance, now the reciprocal of 1 over n, 1 over n is n. So I'll multiply this side by n and multiply this side by n. So this will give me a raised to power 1 over n times n is equals to b raised to power n. So n now will not cancel n now. So this will not be a raised to power 1 is a, which will not be equal to b raised to power n as our answer. Now let's say example, let's say we have something like this. We have x raised to power 1 over 3 again, x power 1 over 3, and it's equals to let's say 8, and we asked to find x. Okay, now what it means is that let me write it like, let me say 2 raised by 3. Yeah, let me go by this. 2 raised by 3. Now we are asked to find x. What I just said now is that you multiply both sides by the reciprocal of what I have here. Now the reciprocal of what I have here is 3. The reciprocal of 1 over 3 is 3. Reciprocal of 1 over 2 is 2. Okay, so this will now give me x times raised by 1 over 3 times 3 is equals to 2 raised by this 3 that is here times 3. Because the reciprocal of 1 over 3, so you are multiplying both sides now. So 3 will cancel 3. So our x now will not be equal to 2 raised by 3 times 3 is 9. And 2 raised by 9, if we could do it further, 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 2 times 2 is 4, 4 times 2 is 8, 8 times 2 is 16, 32, 64, 128, 256, 512. Okay, so this one will give us 512. So our S will be 512. So that is the third law. So these are the laws of exponential. So there are questions that you'll be seeing. You apply these 3 laws and everything will be very easy for you. So thank you for watching. I will look forward to doing 1 or 2 examples as regard these laws. Thank you.